Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. We will study today multi-loop circuits. In the previous lectures, we discussed single loop circuits, and now we will discuss the multi-loop circuits, which means the circuits with more than one loops. So here you see a circuit with more than one loops. There are three loops. One is left-hand loop, which you can call B A B B. This is one loop, okay, the left one. And then there is a right loop, which is B C D B. This is another loop. And you can also consider a bigger loop, okay, which is A B C D and A. So this is a big loop, okay, which contains the small two loops. For simplicity, we assume that these B trees, okay, two B trees you see, they are ideal, which means that they have no internal resistances, while the real B trees have internal resistances. So there are three branches. One is left hand branch, which we call BAD. This is one branch. And then there is another branch which is right handed, BCD. This is a right handed branch. And then there is a central branch which is BD. This is a central branch. The directions of the current are assumed arbitrarily, okay. We have just shown that I1 has this direction, I3 has this direction, I2 is this direction, but we don't know the direction of the current, and these have been shown just arbitrarily. Now the current into the junction must equal the current out. This is charge is conserved, we already know. For example, if this is a junction B, so we will say that the current entering at this junction should be equal to the current outgoing at that junction. Or this is a junction D, so we will say that the junction entering at D must be equal to the junction outgoing of D. So for the D we can simply write, you see, that at this point D there are two currents which are entering. One is I1 and the other is I3. So I1 plus I3, this is the total current entering at point D. So this is I1 plus I3, okay, entering current. And I2 is outgoing current which is going out of this junction is equal to I2. So how I1 plus I3 is equal to I2? Because of charge conservation. So the sum of the currents entering at any junction, this is the junction rule, must be equal to the sum of the currents leaving that junction, a junction rule. And we also call it a Kirchhoff junction rule. This is a Kirchhoff law. And what is the loop rule? Based on conservation of energy. Okay, this rule, junction rule, is based on the conservation of charge, and loop rule is based on the conservation of energy, while the junction rule is based on the conservation of charge. So you should keep this in mind. Now you see again the circuits. When we analyze a circuit, we determine the current. Okay, how the current can be determined. So you know, here are three currents, I1, I2 and I3, and you also know that when there are three unknown variables, we can determine those three unknown variables by writing down three equations. But we don't have any three equations. Yes, we have one equation which is I1 plus I3 is equal to I2, we just discussed, but we don't have the other two equations. So we need more two equations. Now left hand loop in the counterclockwise direction from point B, the loop rule gives us. So for the two equations we analyze the circuits. Left hand loop, which is this one, if you go in a counterclockwise direction like this way from point B, okay, like this, then it gives us, when you pass through EMF to the battery, EMF1, so you will write EMF1, and then since you are going in the direction of the R1, we write that the voltage drops minus I1 R1, and then when you travel through the R3, here you moves here you move opposite to the direction of I3. So here the voltage doesn't drop, rather it is added. So we write I3 plus I3 R3 is equal to 0. This is equation number 2. Now we need a third equation, which is determined by analyzing this right side loop. Okay, right hand loop in a counterclockwise direction from point B. If you go counterclockwise direction, which will be like moving from B to D and then to C and then to D, the loop rule gives us, when you pass through the R3 while starting from point B, you are moving in the direction of I3, so this will become minus I3 R3, voltage drops, and then you are moving in the direction of again current I2, the voltage drops will be I2 R2, and here you move against the direction of EMF2, so this will be minus EMF2. So the loop rule says that it is equal to 0. So keep this in mind, when you are passing through R3, the current will be I3. In your equation it will be I3, but when you pass through the R2, it will be I2, not I3 nor I1. So this should be kept in mind. So we have now these three equations, equation 1, 2 and 3, and there are three unknown currents, I1, I2 and I3. So from these three equations you can determine I1, I2 and I3 according to the mathematics rule. You know that how, given the three equations, you can determine the three unknown variables. Now resistances in parallel. You see this circuit, here is a battery, current flows, and here are three resistors R1, R2 and R3, and the directions of the currents are shown across the resistors I1, I2 and I3. So resistances are directly wired together on one side, you see on one side, and directly wired together on the other side, and that a potential difference V is applied across the pair of the connected sides. So you see this one resistor R1, it is directly connected to the battery. R2, it is also directly connected to the battery, and R3 is also directly connected to the battery. So we can say that the same potential difference appears across all resistors. Okay, across an individual resistor, the same potential difference appears. So you see the current, this is the total current which is flowing from positive terminal of the battery to the negative terminal of the battery, and at this point the current divides. Okay, a part of the current comes here, I1, and the remaining one, which we call I2 plus I3, that comes here, and at this point again it splits into two parts. I2 comes here and the other half comes to the R3. So you see at this point again two currents, they add with each other, I2 and I3, so the total current is I2 plus I3 here. Okay, and at this point I1 also joins the I2 plus I3, and it becomes the total current, which is I. So total current I is equal to I1 plus I2 plus I3. So all three resistances have the same potential difference across them. We just discussed that. And if you replace all these three resistors R1, R2 and R3 with another resistor which we call R, where the resistance of that resistor is R equivalent, then that resistor should work similar to the collective effect of all these three resistors. So when the potential difference V is applied across resistances connected in parallel, the resistances all have that same potential difference V. Now, the current I1, how much the current I1 will be? V is the potential difference, which is same for all resistors, but R1 and R2 and R3 are different. So it will be equal to V over R1. I2 will be equal to V over R2 and I3 will be equal to V over R3. If we apply the junction rule at point A, okay, then we will say that I at this point A, after this point the currents split, okay, then we can say that the total current is equal to I1 plus I2 plus I3. If you just put the value of the current from here, I put the value of current I1 from here and of current I2 from here and of current I3 from here. So this will become equal to V over R1 plus V over R2 plus V over R3, and just take the V common, the potential difference. So we can write, if you replace this this circuit with this one, mean replace all these three resistors with the equivalent resistance, then we can write the I is equal to V over R equivalent. Now if you compare these two equations, then you can see that 1 over R equivalent is equal to 1 over R1 plus 1 over R2 plus 1 over R3. Now extending this results to the case of n resistances. In our case there were 3 resistances, but if you extend it to the n number of resistances, then we can write this equation 1 over R equivalent is equal to this one, right side you see. So for the case of two resistances, the equivalent resistance is their product divided by their sum, okay, like this one. So R equivalent, you can write it R1 over R2 divided by R1 plus R2. We just added 1 over R1 plus 1 over R2. What does this equation tells you? It says when two or more resistances are connected in parallel, the equivalent resistance is smaller than any of the combining resistance. So this R equivalent, this is smaller than the R1 as well as smaller than the R2. Okay, this is what this equation tells us. Okay, just look at this table. This is very helpful if you summarize the resistors in parallel and series and capacitors parallel and in series. Okay, first resistors which we just studied, if they are in series, so then we know this equation. We have derived this equation in previous lecture. So same current through all resistors, okay, and if you compare it with the capacitors in series, so the equation is different. It is 1 over C equivalent is equal to 1 over Cj. So you see it is here, we say that same charge on all capacitors. Similarly, resistor and parallel, you see the equation is 1 over R equivalent is equal to summation where J goes from 1 to N 1 over Rj. So same potential difference across all resistors. While capacitors in parallel, the equation is this one. So you can just note it down from this table that when you connect the resistors in a circuit in parallel and series, what will be the equations, and what will be the equations when you connect the capacitors in series and in parallel. Hope it is clear. If you have any questions, you can just comment below. Hopefully you will get an answer. Thank you very much.